Of all the characters within the Twilight universe, Esme is one of the quietest. She doesn't receive much commentary either way. There aren't many fans standing her or criticizing her. Even while reading the novels, I didn't find her a memorable character. Despite her unassuming nature, though, Esme, like many of the characters in this series, has her own surprising history. From fighting for rights in a male-dominated world, to grappling with abuse and mental health problems, the backstory of the gentlest Cullen is shockingly dark. Before we continue, I'm Riley and this is Otherworldly Fiction. On this channel, I primarily discuss fantasy books while offering the occasional writing advice. If you're interested in Twilight, Harry Potter, fantasy books in general, or improving your own writing, subscribe. I post on Fridays. Esme was born as Esme Ann Platt in the year 1895. She was 26 years old when she was turned into a vampire during the year 1921. She was the second human after Edward to be transformed into a vampire by Carlisle. Like the other Cullens, she has an education. She has degrees in architecture, art, and photography, but her main passion and source of income is restoring old homes. Esme's story opens on a farm in Columbus, Ohio. Despite the challenging adulthood which awaited her, she had the fortune of enjoying a great childhood beforehand. However, as she became a teenager, her enjoyment of life was hampered by the gendered expectations of the time. As a teen, she was expected to play the role of the proper young lady, something she struggled with. Rather than put up a respectable front and fixate on pretty dresses, Esme was more the type to spend her free time climbing trees. It was during one of these climbs that Esme fell from a tree and broke her leg. With the town's doctor absent, none other than her future husband Carlisle came to treat her. Privately, Esme was moved by Carlisle's manner and surprised by his interest in what she had to say. He couldn't remain in town long, but he had an impact on the young teen. She wouldn't forget him, holding the doctor up as her ideal. Esme was not opposed to marriage, but it was her hope to marry for love, while also being allowed the chance to pursue her own career. She expressed a desire to head out west and become a schoolteacher, but her old-fashioned parents insisted she instead marry. With all her friends married, Esme, wishing to satisfy her parents, settled for Charles Evenson. He was the son of a family friend, and several years older than Esme. Despite her misgivings, Esme, with a desire of pleasing her family, thought he'd be a practical concession. Charles was considered respectable, and he made decent wages. Esme couldn't find anything objectionable about him beyond the absence of romantic love. Unfortunately, Charles Evenson was a different person behind closed doors. It was only after they were married that Charles revealed his true colors. He physically abused his wife, while presenting to the world the same proper facade. When Esme went to her parents seeking help, her suffering was brushed aside. They encouraged her to hush up and be a good wife. It was with relief that Esme watched her husband leave to fight in the First World War. However, where other women were unfortunate to lose their husbands, Esme was unfortunate to have hers survive. He returned in the year 1919, as nasty as he'd ever been. Esme became pregnant. Hoping to protect her child from Charles, Esme made the decision to leave. She hid with a cousin in Milwaukee, but Charles managed to track her down. Esme fled to another part of Wisconsin, Ashland, where, pretending to be a war widow, she finally achieved her dream of becoming a schoolteacher. Whatever her history with Charles, Esme loved her baby boy. Yet her sorrows were not behind her because, after only 2 days alive, the infant died of a lung fever. Devastated, Esme attempted suicide. Just outside of town, she flung herself off a cliff. She survived the jump, but it wouldn't be long before she succumbed to her injuries in the hospital. She was in terrible pain when Carlisle found her, but she recognized him as the one who had treated her broken leg 10 years prior. Carlisle likewise recognized her, and he was saddened to see what had happened to a girl he'd remembered as being so full of life. Carlisle decided to bite Esme. He expected her to be angry for changing her, even going as far as to apologize. But Esme adjusted to the transformation better than most. Like others of her ilk, Esme did struggle to resist human blood in the beginning. Despite setbacks, she eventually mastered the vegetarian lifestyle. Esme suffered a horrible loss, but her desire to nurture another remained within her. When she adopted Edward and then his siblings, her instinct to mother was satisfied, and she found herself with a second chance at having a loving family. Despite being one of the quietest characters in the novels, Esme's backstory is one of the origins which makes me feel the strongest emotions. What shocked you most about her story? The tragedies she suffered, or how she overcame them? Does hearing her story make you view her differently as a character? Sound off in the comments. Personally, I'd now love to see a fanfiction exploring her story in more detail. As always, if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and happy reading.